genuine Polaris parts, no junky aftermarkets. Their bearings for the front and the rear. A little bit size difference. This number is a 3514635. Part number on this bearing is a 3514699, 40 by 74 by 40. Not sure what the third dimension's for on there. 44 by 72. That's what we've got. So 2 and 2. Do all 4. And I've got 4 of these retaining rings here. I ordered these because they're cheap enough to where if you destroy them on the way out, you put a new one in. Plus, retention clips eventually age and lose their springability, if you want to call it that. They can crack and whatnot. So it's just good practice. I'm changing the bearings. I'm going to replace the retaining clips. That way all the hardware is just as new as the bearing, and this Polaris Razr will be good to go for a long time. Oh, good Lord. You see I took part of the bearing with me. See that? Part of the bearing stuck on here, so that's got to come off. And that will pound out this way. Just turn the wheel, make it easier. Both sides are 15. You noticed I have this machine. It's supported by the center chassis, so this armature is just laying at rest. So these springs are fully extended. Make sure that before you take any suspension components under torsion, tension, pressure, make sure everything's supported correctly. So that comes out like that. If there's a lot of tension under it, you have to beat that out. Here's all I'm going to do. Drop it down. Here. This way. Alright. Just going to free up my arm to travel. Support the lower. Alright, there we go. So now our arm is at a good workable height. Got this out of the way. We're going to go ahead and drive this out from the inside out. That's how that bearing comes out. Gotta take the snap ring out of there. Usually helps. Okay. All my snap ring pliers are not for rings this large, so this works well. Just kind of shaped the end here to be a little more pin-like. They work well. I keep them in the box just for these. Bear through the pain with me. There's a stop back there for the bearing, so the bearing cannot go any further inward. It's actually a part of the casting in this yoke right here, or knuckle, whatever you want to call it. So the bearing has to come out from the back. They do give you 3 little bitty, if you want to call it, divots in that casting. I'm gonna let you see that. And there's a dimple up there, a dimple there, and a dimple here, and that's how you beat that out from the back. So this is just minimally invasive. We call this an outpatient procedure because this doesn't require a whole lot of tear down to get those bearings out, which is good. But I do have to replace these lower ball joints too. That's just like a car, so well, they're a lot smaller, and I've got tools for this, so we'll be fine. Upper ball joints are good, just the lower ones are shot. But get the new bearing in here after I clean that up, and I'll show you that too. Got a little spot of grease. Grease the body of this bearing. Beautiful. Just to keep me from marring any of the surfaces on the bearing. I always keep a good piece of brass around. It will deform before defacing any of the steel. So that's what I like to do. I'm going to tap on my actual bearing, not the seal, not the seal, not the seal. the bearing body. I want to bridge it on the corner. Okay, I think I'm all the way seated. My groove around there is visible. See my snap ring groove? Pull it out. Old ring, new ring. Adios. Straighten out. Okay. All right. Just like that. We're in. Snap ring is fully seated all the way around. Just about to take that off. I'm back. So that wasn't very hard to get off there. I just put it in a vise, took a screwdriver on each side, and just pried this off of here. It just slid right off. So shaft's good now. That just rides inside the bearing. Clean it up a little bit. I'll run this down. Tighten pretty good. Just to set it. I know it's not a preload style bearing. It's not a tapered bearing where you got to set with grease and spin them and torque them and then back them off. I know that. What I do is I tighten, which is pretty good and tight. I know my CV shaft is in there seated pretty good. What I'll then do, back it back off and by hand, literally by hand, I'll run it in until I feel it's kind of good and tight. Find my nearest slot and loosen to it. It's right there. I'm loosened to that slot. Go bottom up. These are stainless. I'm not going to leave these a mile long. There's never a tool too big for a small job. Here we go. And just like that, your wheel bearing's changed. Just make sure that if you have any oils on your rotor, use some brake clean, clean them up. Same with your pads. You don't want your things to slip. We're going to put our strut back in place. Way down. Just like that. YouTube famous.